In today's episode, we're going to talk about loving our neighbors. So the Bible actually tells us what to do, and that's to love God first and then love our neighbors as ourselves. But how do we love our neighbors as ourselves? Well, I'm going to go over 5 crucial tips to help you guys go out there and start loving people properly the way that God intended us to love. So, once again, my name is Rob, and I welcome you to Sunny Over Shady. Okay, so for the sake of time, I'm gonna just jump right into this stuff. Tip number 1. It should be pretty much common sense, but for some crazy reason, people tend to forget this. Number 1, nobody is perfect. No one on this world is perfect. There's not a perfect coach, there's not a perfect teacher, there's not a perfect boss, there's not a perfect coworker, there's not a perfect parent, there's not a perfect spouse, there's not a perfect sibling, there's not a perfect waitress, there's not a perfect driver on the road. Nobody is perfect. So in Romans chapter 3 verse 23, it says, "For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God." That means every single one of us are sinners. Every one of us has made some bad decisions in their life. We make bad choices. So we fall short of the glory of God. God is perfect. We fall short of perfect. Nobody is perfect. It's okay to let things go when people do you wrong. That's tip number 1. Okay, tip number 2 is the devil and his demons are our enemies, not people. We're going to turn to Ephesians chapter 6 verse 12. It says, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." Meaning, demons, the devil, those are our enemies. There's a spiritual warfare going on. We're not fighting and wrestling against people, our brothers and our sisters out in the world. We're all children of God. We're all on the same team. We should be unified. This isn't you got to be Democrat or Republican. We're not against Democrats. We're not against Republicans. We're not against rich. We're not against poors. We're not against blacks. We're not against whites. We're not against females. We're not against males. It's none of that stuff. We're not against liberals. We're not against conservatives. Our fight is against demons. And if we can remember that, we can show people love. We can remind ourselves that we can love one another. Because if someone messes up, if someone makes mistakes, if someone doesn't agree with us, has different beliefs or whatever, we can still learn to love and respect them. Because our fight is not against people, but against demons. So that's tip number 2. Okay, tip number 3 is be humble, stay humble. Meaning, be thankful, be grateful for all the little details in your life, for everything that you're given. If you are doing better than someone else, don't hold yourself on this pedestal like you're better than everybody, because you're not. And if someone else is doing better than you, don't be envious, don't be jealous. Show them love and show them support. Meaning, let me give you examples here. If you're a sports player and you think you're a starter, but the coach puts you on the bench, well, be humble about it. You might get another shot at a starter position later on. If you're at your job and you're doing some good things and your coworker actually gets a promotion over you, don't be jealous, don't be a hater. Be humble, be loving, be supportive. What does the Bible say about being humble? Well, there's 2 occasions where God says that he opposes the proud but shows favor to the humble. And in James, he says that humble yourselves in the sight of the Lord and he will lift you up. If you want to be in higher positions, keep it humble. If you want to learn how to love people properly, be humble about life. Be humble about yourself and about everyone around you. So that's tip number 3. Okay, tip number 4 is forgive people. We have to learn the importance of forgiveness. If God can forgive us for the craziness, we have to learn how to forgive others for their craziness. That's how we love people. We're going to turn to Colossians chapter 3, verse 13. It says, "Bearing with one another and forgiving one another, if anyone has a complaint against another, even as Christ forgave you, you also must do." So we got to do what Christ does, and he forgives, God forgives. And that's what we got to do to others. I know this is easier said than done, but if you want to receive some true blessings from God, forgiving people is the way to go. It shows where your heart is at. So if you truly want to love your neighbor, you got to forgive. That's tip number 4. All right. Tip number 5, final tip here, is show grace to people. Show love, be kind, be merciful to people. In Proverbs chapter 11, verse 17, it says, "The man who is merciful does good for his own soul, but he who is cruel troubles his own flesh." Meaning, when you're kind to people, when you're loving, when you show grace to people, it's good for your soul. It shows that you have a good heart. But when you're not those things, it's bad and it's troubling for your heart, because it shows where your character is at. So if you truly want to love people and you want to receive blessings from the Lord, you got to be graceful. You got to show people grace. You got to let things go, let things slide, and do things for others that you would like done for you. So that's tip number 5. Be graceful. Alrighty, there it is. 5 tips on how to love your neighbors. Nobody is perfect. The devil and his demons are our enemies, not people. Be humble, stay humble, forgive people, and show grace to people. These are the ways you want to go out there and love people that you're in your jobs, love your family. When you're out running errands and you see strangers, this is the way to love. So I hope you guys go out and apply these tips. It was crazy kind of making this video. There's a lot of complications. There's a lot of things going wrong. So it's going to be interesting in the editing process, but I hope the video comes out spectacular. But once again, like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video to every person you know that needs this kind of help, that needs to learn how to love their neighbors. If you know anybody that needs to learn this wisdom, please share the video to them. Because we got to spread the word. We got to let the people know that the gospel is real. Jesus is legit. But I hope you guys have a very blessed day. I'm praying every single one of you receives favor from the Lord and you gain a lot of wisdom. So my name is Rob. I love you guys. Remember, keep it sunny over shady.